So low. Oh, I think it's just me. I don't think it's you. I think it's just me. Let's go back to the do 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 do. I did hit start streaming, right? I hit start stream. Yes, we have started streaming. Why is Restream not telling me anything? That's weird. Come on, Restream, do your job. Do your job. You have one job. I'm assuming there's one job for Restream. It could be a lot more. Come on. I'm assuming. Come on. Oh, there it is. Looks like things are working now, which means we are no longer starting soon. We are, in fact, starting now. Hi. Good morning. Welcome to another live taping of Podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. Hang on a second. Hey, honey, would you close the door, please? Thank you. Normally I do that first thing, but I didn't get a chance to. Honey? All right, I got to do it. I don't know where she's at. Sorry about that. We're slightly discombobulated here at Shivo Studios. My wife actually has to go into the office today, which is weird, because I've had her home for the last, 20 months? So I sent her home like in March, I think, so almost 20 months. Long time. So yeah, she has to go back into the office today. For not forever, just for a little bit of time here. So anyhow, hey, thanks for hanging out with me here on the live stream. For those of you who are brand new, yep, live stream, behind the scenes stuff, not the actual podcast content, because look, nobody needs to hear all that stuff about Sheila going back to the office and things like that. So that's just not important, right? But it's important to people who like to watch the show as we do it live. We are talking about podcasting today. Specifically, I'm going to cover 4 questions to uncover. Ooh, I like the symmetry there. 4 questions to uncover your podcast's unique point of view. That is what we shall be talking about today. Good morning, Arlen Ambler. Good morning, Betty Danowitz. Both of you are in the chat rooms. Arlen's watching on something. Betty's watching on something else. It doesn't matter what you're watching on. You can do it on Facebook and LinkedIn. You can do it on Twitter and YouTube. I'll see you. Well, if you make a comment, I will see you, and I will say nice things back to you, like hello and good morning. Discombobulation number 2 is I had horrible sleep last night. Man, I didn't go to bed till 11. I'm usually in bed by 9. But unfortunately, I still woke up at my normal 3, which is not good. So running on a little bit of sleep. Luckily, I had everything outlined before we began, so I should be good to go with all things. So, anyhow, thanks for hanging out with me. If you are wondering what the hell's going on around here, look, if you want to avoid all this preamble, I promise you the show's going to be much better once I get my voice under control. You can go to podcastpontifications.com, because that's where the final episode will be posted in a little over 3 hours from now. Right. All right, let's get my eyeballs working. Let's get my brain working. Let's get my voice working. I think all those things are working. And we'll kind of lead into things. First off, why is Hindenburg open? I do not need Hindenburg open. That is going to be a resource drain. No, close. Everything else closed? Yeah, I closed everything else. I just forgot Hindenburg. Oh, the huge manatees. All right. First thing I'm going to do is move this on. Oh, let me refresh Restream, because once again it's frozen on me. I just want to make sure that it actually is going out, and it's fine, and it's good, and apparently it is. So yeah, there you go. So cool. Rocking my new Libsyn shirt. Libsyn shirts last longer than any other podcast company shirt. I wear a blue one on occasion, and it lasted me for a couple, almost 3 years now. So we'll see how long this one lasts. So I don't know who they're getting for their printing, but good on you, Libsyn, for a good printing company. Right. Okay. Cold open for today's episode is going to be as follows. Yeah. Your podcast is unique, just like every other podcast. Or just like every other podcast tries to be. I need to work on slowing down today. One more time. Your podcast is unique, just like every other podcast. Or just like every other podcast tries to be. The truth is, figuring out your show's unique point of view is hard. But asking these 4 questions can help. That's what I'm going to say. All right. Are we good? Is everything good? We looking good? Screen's all right? You guys all right? Oh, the cat's in here. FFS. Hang on. I wonder what the hell that noise was. And it was a cat. Damn thing. I don't have a cat. I live with the cat. Sheila has a cat. And the cat and I are on terms. All right, back to where I was. We're going to start this thing because I got to get going. If I have any hope of getting anything done today, I need to get a move on. All right, let's pull up QuickTime. Move it where it's supposed to be. Start the QuickTime. Start the video. Hi, Allie. Good morning. Here we go. Your podcast is unique, just like every other podcast, or just like every other podcast tries to be. The truth is, figuring out your show's unique point of view is hard, but asking these 4 questions can help. Hello and welcome to another Podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. When I ask clients, who is your podcast for? I typically find them casting a far too wide of a net. Some of them actually say everybody, which tells me they effectively mean nobody. Now, they usually adjust quickly after that and start getting more specific, which in turn helps me help them create a better podcast, or can help me help them refine their current efforts to make their existing podcast better. An element of understanding the answer to who is your podcast for is figuring out your unique point of view. And yes, I think that you and your podcast should certainly have a point of view. You're not Wikipedia. You're a podcaster. But finding your unique point of view is hard. For many, it's one of the least fun things about podcasting. But it's also a critical piece of the puzzle, especially if you want to have a show that stands out from the crowd. Now, my friend, Pam Slim, recently shared 4 questions that she uses when helping her business customers. These are questions that I think, when I saw them, and I know will help podcasters who haven't quite nailed down what it is that makes their show special. These questions will help them figure out what it is that makes their show special, perhaps makes your show special. Now, if you already have all of this stuff figured out for your show and you've nailed it down, then keep these in your back pocket for the next podcast you start, because we do that in podcasting. Be sure to take notes on this one, or better yet, just go to the article, which will be posted at Podcast Pontifications very soon. Or even better than that, if you subscribe to Podcast Pontifications in your inbox, that's a free service that you can get to from podcastpontifications.com. You get the article, which has all of these links and notes all emailed to you, nice and handy for when you need them. All right, with that, let me ask you these 4 questions. Number 1, what is missing from the conversation? Of all of the podcasts that also cover the exact same topics you cover, what aren't they talking about? I'm going to use Sounds Profitable as an example. This is a newsletter and a show that I've been involved with since it began. Now, you know there are lots of podcasts about podcasting, and many of them do talk about the business of podcasting and how to monetize a podcast. But none of them were talking about podcasting ad tech specifically. So Brian Barletta, host of the show, writer of the newsletter, took his years of podcast ad tech experience and made a show that stands out as its own, apart from everyone else in the podcasting space, just by figuring out what's missing from the conversation. Question number 2, whose important voice or whose important perspective is not being shared? When you listen to podcasts that are similar to yours, whose voice is underrepresented? Now, there's an obvious play here and large opportunity for those from underrepresented groups or minorities, yes, but it doesn't have to stop there, or it doesn't have to be isolated to that. I'm going to take the Bangkok podcast for it as an example. That's a show that I co-hosted a few years back with 70-some-odd episodes that I helped with when I was living in Thailand, obviously. Now, there are, as there were, plenty of travel shows that do focus on Thailand and Bangkok as a travel destination. But Bangkok is home to hundreds of thousands of expats, and even more number of people who call Bangkok their second home. They travel there every single year. Now, that's an instant audience of people who don't really care about the travel aspects, but want to know the city better that they've chosen to live in. An important perspective that was not being shared. Question 3. What obvious truths are being ignored? There may be a lot of podcasts talking about your podcast. Well, talking about the topics that you cover on your podcast. And many of those podcasts talk with plenty of enthusiasm. But are they ignoring something that is blatantly obvious and needs to be brought to bear? I'm going to make up an example here. It's something I've thought about for a while. I want to create a podcast that exposes the crappy B-grade movies and television shows that Netflix foists upon us and tries to make us think are good. These movies aren't really bad, but they certainly are not good. And I think we should point to them. Now, again, this is in the ideation phase, and I probably won't do it. So please, if this sounds appealing to you, steal my idea and uncover this obvious truth. Question number 4. What critical steps are not being covered? Now, this is especially important if your show exists in the how-to or knowledge transfer space within the niche that you already occupy. And so with that, here's another free idea in the podcasting space, because we have plenty of how to get started as a podcaster podcasts. But there are very few, if any, that are talking to the mid-level podcaster who is on the verge of turning pro. I know there are several pro podcasters who listen to podcast pontifications. I know there are many people who are professionals in podcasting who work at or on pro-level shows who also listen to podcast pontifications. Maybe one of them, maybe you, will take the impetus here and create a show that is focused on turning podcasters into pro podcasters. That's a critical step that is not being covered. Now, again, I encourage you, check the episode details for a list of those 4 questions because you were driving or walking or washing dishes and whatever else. It's all available at podcastpontifications.com. And while any of these questions can really help you nail down your show's unique point of view, ideally, you'll consider all 4 of them. Most importantly, you'll have answers to all 4 of them. Because if you can't answer, it might indicate that you've a bit more research to do around the niche you're trying to occupy. Yep, study the others making podcasting your niche, because this landscape is constantly shifting. Let's do a quick boostagram. Anonymous used PayPal to send their value for value payment with the following message. I love your little tweet threads, and I'm always learning. I hope this helps. Indeed, it does help. Thank you very much, Anonymous, and thank you for calling out those tweet threads. They certainly do take me some time and effort, but I also know that there are people like you who are very busy, who, for whatever reason, their own reasons, can't listen to the show, can't subscribe to the newsletter. They just don't work for them, but the Twitter threads are a nice way for them to get at least the highlights of the content, and when necessary, dive a little deeper. So I'm very glad that you enjoy those and have called them out specifically. Thank you. And if you're getting value out of this show, articles I post, the videos that I make, the Twitter threads, any of that stuff, any related to the content that I make, please visit podcastpontifications.com/value for value for simple ways you can support the program. No episodes for me on Friday, so with that, have a fantastic weekend, and I shall be back on Monday with yet another podcast, Pontifications. Cheers. Video stop, and the audio stop. I was afraid I was going to go long on that one, and I did not. Did not go long on that one. So there you go. Hello, Lucy Scott. I see you have also joined the chat room. Thank you for commenting so I can see who is watching and what they have to say to me. So thank you very much for doing that. If you're not Lucy Scott and you're not Betty Danwitz and you're not Arlen Amber and you are just now joining the live stream, well, you missed it. Hey, cool. You do not have to back up 15 minutes and 27 seconds. You can if you want to, but a better plan, go to podcastpontifications.com because he looks at the screen, 2 hours and 46 minutes. That's where you will get the fully edited audio of the program. You will get a whole bunch of words rewritten, things I just said, but I'm going to rewrite every word so that it reads good for your eyeballs. Both of those things will be available at 10 a.m. Phoenix time. And better yet, if you are subscribed to Podcast Pontifications in your inbox, that is a free service at podcastpontifications.com. You go there, you click the button that says never miss an episode, give it your email address, and voila! You will have an email sent to you as soon as the episode is done. The actual full article in the email, which is very helpful this time, because I have those 4 questions written down, so you can ponder them at your leisure. It'll be in your email inbox when your inbox is already out of control. I get it, so star it, put it in a folder, print it out, whatever you want to do. It's all going to be right there for you. And yeah, like I said, tomorrow is Friday, and there shall be no episodes posted on Friday. So yeah, nothing else from me for the week. I mean, I'll be on the Twitters and doing various things. And again, I do have a slow. A slow is very different than a slew. I have a slew, and by slew I mean 4 more episodes coming next week. I know it's the last of October, and I'm supposed to be on Evo's Long Winter's Nap, and I am going on Evo's Long Winter's Nap, but I am going to put out episodes the first week of October. No, the first week of November, because I took off the first week of October, and I want to not cheat anybody out of what they want to get from me here, and certainly I want to make sure that my wonderful supporter Gumball.fm for this month gets their money's worth as well. So thanks again, Dane. Okay, now I'm going because I have to get this shit done. So have a great rest of your day. So long and bye.